In a suburban neighborhood where houses stood in orderly rows with well-kept lawns, a husband and wife had built a life together over 7 years. Their marriage was comfortable, settled into the familiar rhythms of work, shared meals, and weekend routines. The wife worked as an interior designer, her eye for detail evident in their carefully curated home. The husband managed a local hardware store, his world one of practical solutions and measured quantities. One evening, as they cleared dishes from dinner, the wife scrolled through her phone and her face lit up with excitement.
I got it! The firm approved my request. I'm leading the team on the Milan project.
Milan? As in Italy?
For 2 weeks. We're presenting to the client and touring supplier showrooms.
The husband was quiet for a moment, absorbing this. His wife had traveled for work before, but never internationally, never for so long.
2 weeks is a long time.
It's an incredible opportunity. For my career. For us.
He nodded, a slow smile forming. The idea was growing on him.
Well, Italy. You'll have to bring me back something good.
The days before her departure were a whirlwind of preparation. The wife organized project files, bought a new suitcase, and practiced her presentation. The husband watched her, a mixture of pride and a vague, unspoken anxiety stirring within him. The scale of her trip, the distance, felt like a door opening to a world he wasn't part of. The morning of her flight, he drove her to the international terminal. The air was thick with the sounds of rolling luggage and echoing announcements. They stood awkwardly by the drop-off curb, the energy of the airport making their usual goodbye feel insufficient.
Well, this is me.
Don't forget to call when you land.
I will.
She hesitated, then smiled.
Is there anything specific you'd like me to bring back for you? A real Italian souvenir?
The husband shoved his hands in his pockets. The anxiety he'd felt, the sense of being left behind, twisted itself into what he thought was a clever remark. He grinned, aiming for a playful tone.
How about a beautiful Italian girl?
The words hung in the air between them. The wife's smile didn't vanish, but it changed. It became smaller, tighter, a mere formality that didn't reach her eyes. She looked at him for a beat too long, as if searching his face for something.
I'll see what I can do.
She gave him a quick peck on the cheek, turned, and merged into the river of passengers flowing toward security. The husband stood watching until she was out of sight, the strange energy of their parting lingering with him. For the wife, the trip was a revelation. Milan was a symphony of elegant chaos, a world away from their quiet suburb. Her days were packed with successful meetings, and her evenings were spent with colleagues from the Italian office, dining at bustling piazzas and walking through ancient cobblestone streets. She felt capable, independent, and seen for her professional talents in a way she hadn't in years. Her husband's joke, which she had replayed in her mind during the long flight, began to feel like a relic from a different life, a small, cheap thing in a world that now felt vast and sophisticated. In her second week, she met a man named Luca, a designer who was consulting on the project. He was charming and earnest, and he listened to her ideas with genuine interest. On her last night in the city, after a celebratory dinner with the team, she found herself walking with him along the Navigli canals, the water reflecting the warm glow of the streetlights. The air was warm and filled with the sound of laughter from nearby cafes. It felt like a different reality, one where she wasn't just someone's wife, but a woman on her own adventure. She made a choice that night, a conscious step away from the life waiting for her back home. 2 weeks to the day, the husband stood at the arrivals gate, scanning the crowd for her face. When he saw her, she looked different, more confident, with a new vibrancy in her step. He felt a surge of relief and hugged her tightly.
God, I missed you.
I missed you too.
The words were correct, but her tone was measured. On the drive home, he asked about the trip, and she gave him polished, pleasant answers about the food, the sights, the success of the project. The easy intimacy they once had felt strained, as if a thin pane of glass now stood between them. As he pulled into their driveway, the familiar setting seemed to embolden him. The unease he'd felt began to fade, replaced by the comfort of routine. He killed the engine and turned to her with a wide, expectant grin, the same one he'd used at the airport.
So, come on. Don't keep me in suspense. What about my souvenir?
The wife looked straight ahead through the windshield at their neatly painted front door.
Which souvenir are you talking about?
The husband laughed, a loud, comfortable sound in the quiet car.
The one I asked for at the airport. The beautiful Italian girl. Don't tell me you forgot.
The wife slowly turned her head to look at him. Her expression was calm, but her eyes were unwavering. A small, knowing smile touched her lips, one that didn't promise happiness.
Oh, that. Well, I tried my very best to get you one. I really did.
She paused, letting the silence build. The husband's grin began to waver, unsure of the joke now.
Now I guess we'll have to wait about 9 months to see if it's a boy or a girl.
The air in the car vanished. The husband's face went slack. The joke, his stupid, throwaway joke, had returned not as a laugh, but as a seismic event that had cracked the foundation of their life in two. He stared at her, his mind struggling to catch up, to process the magnitude of what she had just implied. The comfortable future he had imagined moments before had been irrevocably erased, replaced by a terrifying, uncertain void. All right, everyone, let's decode this tale. What we just experienced is more than a simple story with a twist. It's a deep exploration of how communication breakdowns, seeded with disrespect, can lead to catastrophic consequences in a relationship. The purpose here isn't just to shock us, but to hold up a mirror to the way we speak to our partners and the hidden costs of our carelessness. Let's break down the psychological landscape here. First, the husband's joke. We see it wasn't just a one-off comment. The story gives us context. He feels a vague, unspoken anxiety about her trip. His joke is a manifestation of that insecurity. It's his clumsy, misguided way of trying to assert control and mask his own feelings of being left behind. Psychologically, this is a common defense mechanism. Instead of voicing his vulnerability, he packages it as humor, making it deniable. He can always say, "I was just kidding," if she gets upset. This is a critical point. When humor is used as a vehicle for unexpressed negative emotions, it becomes a poison. Now, let's look at the wife's reaction. She doesn't explode at the airport. She internalizes it. The story tells us her smile becomes a mere formality. This is crucial. In that moment, she feels diminished and objectified. Her major career achievement is being met with a comment that reduces her role to that of a souvenir shopper and introduces a competitive sexual element into their parting. Her decision to have an affair is, in the context of the story, her extreme answer to his extreme carelessness. It's her way of saying, "You wanted an Italian girl? Be careful what you wish for." This is a powerful, albeit destructive form of communication through action instead of words. This leads us to the sociological dimension. The story taps into modern tensions around gender roles and independence. The wife is ascending in her career, expanding her world. The husband, in many ways, represents a more static, traditional existence. His joke can be interpreted as a failure to see his wife as a fully autonomous individual separate from his own ego and insecurities. Her actions in Italy are a brutal declaration of that very autonomy. So, what are the key educational takeaways from our DecodeTales analysis? 1. Words. Have weight, even in jest. A joke is never just a joke. It's a reflection of your thoughts and feelings. Dismissing hurtful comments as just humor invalidates the other person's experience and erodes trust. 2. Address insecurity directly. The real tragedy here is that the husband's underlying feeling, fear of being left behind, was a valid emotion. Had he expressed it vulnerably, "I'm going to miss you, and I'm a little worried about how this trip might change things," it could have led to a connecting conversation, not a destructive one. 3. Passive aggression is a dead end. The wife's choice to store her hurt and then deliver a devastating counterblow ensures maximum damage. Healthy relationships require the courage to address issues directly, even when it's uncomfortable. 4. Respect is the non-negotiable foundation. At its core, this story is about a breach of respect. The husband didn't respect his wife's moment or her intelligence with his flippant remark. The wife, in turn, responded with a profound disrespect for their marriage vows. Without a foundation of deep, consistent respect, a relationship is vulnerable to collapse. This tale serves as a stark warning. It reminds us that the health of our relationships depends on the quality of our communication, especially during times of change and stress. It's about choosing vulnerability over defensiveness and directness over passive aggression. Narrator: what's your take on this? Do you think the wife's response, while extreme, was an understandable consequence of the husband's joke? Or was there a different path she should have taken? We're here to decode these complex situations together, so please share your perspective in the comments. If this analysis resonated with you, we have plenty more stories waiting to be decoded on this channel. Your support makes it possible. If you'd like to see more, please hit that like button and subscribe to DecodeTales. Thanks for listening.